So my missus wanted these escargots, so this French restaurant, she's watching Corrie and she went, oh, Mick, go get me some escargots. I said, all right, she's like that. So I legged it up, and I walked in, there's only 4 of my mates in there having a birthday party.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'll stay for, you know, just one magnum. Well, I've ordered them, right, and I've looked, it's 11 o'clock, like, Corrie finishes at 8, isn't it? So I run down the road, right, so I've got the brown bag, and all the garlic butter has gone through the cardboard. I turn into the drive, now there's all snails all over the driveway, at 11 o'clock at night, and she opened the door. I said, come on lads, nearly there. There's one over here, you know. How did your video go? Well, no one could fucking sit still fucking long enough. I bought this watch in Benidorm, you know we all do, you know the lucky men. We've all done it, haven't we? You know, you've had a few berries and he's there with his little black tray with all this silver stuff. And this has been a good one, this, it's a Rolex. And they always tell them you're dead on 12 o'clock. And at 5 past you realise there's only one hand on it. Is it the 29th of October? Being a Scouse, I'll tell you a true story. Many years ago, I did a thing for British Airways, so they said, oh, would you like a fee? Or would you like 2 tickets? I went, well, if I get a fee, VAT, taxman, right, I'll have 2 flights. Well, he's thinking I want to go to Paris. I went, Seychelles. So I've got 2 tickets to the Seychelles, so me and the missus. Anywhere in the world, you will always find a Scouser. So we arrive, and the flight arrives at like 7 in the morning. So you're in your room, me and the missus, hand in hand, the Seychelles, all these beautiful palm trees. There's no one about for miles. Absolutely wonderful. Walking along the beach, and there's a fellow walking towards us, and his head, he's bald, it's completely ripped off. So as we get closer, he walked up and he went, you Mick Miller? There's no one for 10 miles. I said, yeah. He said, thought so. He said, my missus saw you booking in this morning. And she said, tell him to get something on his fucking head. True story, that. I was working in Australia in the Gold Coast. I was doing the clubs over there. And I've landed and got in, and the Gold Coast, wonderful, you know what I mean? So, taxi driver, I just said, hey mate, I said, can you stop your cab? What for, mate? I said, just stop the cab. Why? I said, I want to take a picture of that kangaroo over there. And he went, kangaroo? He said, that's a ground having a shit. I'm not into cars because dyslexic, you know, I'm dyslexic, and you know, you get an advert on television that if you're dyslexic, write to this address. Never get it, do they? You know what I mean? No way. But you had the finger up the arse, have you? So, what a great crowd. Anyone from the Galapagos Islands? Any Galapagos? Well, this mate of mine in Blackpool, he's got a rock factory. And I saw him last year at the end of the lights, you know, the hallucinations in Blackpool. I bet you've all been. Have you all been? Oh, I love it. I love watching drum. Now, a man's just gone out of that door. If a woman comes in this door, it's going to be a wonderful day tomorrow. So,
I just realised that was
Galapagos. That was all comfortable. Are you my fucking prompt? So I said about Blackpool, I love watching the drunks in Blackpool. You've all seen them, haven't you? I mean, like, drunks in a queue, they're brilliant. Why do they always look at your shoes? Have you noticed? Stand next to a drunk in a queue, they always do it, they always go like that. They always say the same thing, don't they? Well, but I was at this hotel in Blackpool, and I went, oh, I can't stay here. So I've gone down to reception. What's wrong? I said, that was in the bathroom. Cockroach. I've got it in tissue. And he went, it's dead. I said, well, it's a cockroach in my bathroom. They're Louboutins. So he said, it's dead. I said, no, it's dead. I said, but 8,000 of his mates have come to the fucking funeral. We hate them, don't we, cockroaches? Have you noticed when you stand on one and they click, then you pick your foot up and they run under the fridge. The next day they come out with a plaster on the back. A blue one if it's in the kitchen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's starting to bore me. I don't have to do this, I'm a bloody good plumber. I was in London yesterday doing a jig and I came up today and that M6 is disgusting. I don't know anyone's, you know, the last... She's been for a piss. That wasn't long enough for number two. So the M6 now, from like Warrington to Stoke, on a Friday, it can take you 3.5 hours. 2 lanes now for 15 years. 2 lanes, 15 years. Now, as you drive into it, they've got a big sign, and there's a young kid in a high-vis jacket, right, and he's got a hard hat. And it says, drive safely, drive safely, please. Because my daddy works here.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking when? And I'm in the queue the other week, you know, 2 lanes, and you're right next to the same person, aren't you, for like 15 miles. And it was Parcel Force Man. And he's right next to me. Well, I was with him now, and he went, hey mate, have you got the time? I said, yeah, it's between 9 and 5-ish. But I'm not into the cars, you know, and the sat-nav, I'm not into that. You know, because I'm dyslexic, you know what I mean? Can't believe it. The other way, I was doing a gig in Hull. I'm dyslexic. I put in hell. But it still fucking got me there. Well, I've got this Toyota, and it's still on the, I don't use the sat-nav, so it's still on the factory setting, which is Japanese. So this Japanese woman keeps talking. She goes, stay on motorway. Turn left at right. And I put in Wigan, and this voice went, oh, you don't go there. I was doing a gig in London the other week, and I thought I'd get the train down. So from Preston to London and back was 280 quid. You know, I don't know how to book it online and all that malarkey. So 280 quid. So I've got on, got my number, my ticket. I'm on one of them tables of 4. So there's 3 fellas all in suits, all with computers, and me. So this fella next to me, he's got his computer in his own socket, and his phone in mine. I said, excuse me, mate, get your fucking phone off my socket. Cost me a lot of money this trip. Anyway, he took it out, but I didn't have my phone with me. Really embarrassed. So I plugged my hair straighteners in. So I moved, and I got on this thing, but there was still someone opposite me. That was a woman, I mean, she must have been in her 80s. And she sat there, and I just smiled to myself, you know, because she was reading 40 Shades of Grey. She's reading it, and I started to laugh. And then I looked down, and she was knitting a whip. So a fellow went to the sex shop. He said, have you got anything 12 inches long and waxy? He said, yes sir, we have. He said, well, you're going to light it, come to turn your electrical. I did a gig in Birmingham, and after the gig I went for a curry. Now Birmingham is the best place probably for curries. So I stayed in the hotel. The next day I'm driving home, and you know, the day after a curry, you never know the moment, do you? You know, that little pain in the pit of your stomach, and you need to be somewhere. I'm in a 20-mile tailback on the M6 with cloth seats. I've just made it to Hilton Park Services. Well, I've legged it in. I've left the Toyota running with the keys in it. I'm in trap 6. And the fellow in the next cubicle, he said, how are you doing, mate? I said, how am I doing? I said, I'm just relieved to be here. Oh, I had a curry last night, did a gig, had a curry, and this morning, pain in the pit of my stomach, 20-mile tailback. I'm just relieved to be here. He said, how's your mum? I said, how's me mum? I said, what are you talking about, you prat? He popped his head over the cubicle. He said, do you mind, mate? I'm on the phone. I was watching the Antiques Roadshow from Eastbourne. Now, us Northerners, you know, when you go down to Eastbourne, you know what I mean? It's a different place, you know. Right in the middle of Eastbourne, there's a shop. It's called Next. It's the Undertakers. I did a summer season there many years ago. I was sat in the prom reading my paper, and this woman sat next to me. She said, I'm 87. I said, well, why get me involved? She said, I've been married 3 times. My first husband, he was an optician. He just used to look at it. And then I married this. I married a psychiatrist. He used to talk to it. And then I married a stamp collector. She said, and this thing. My postman. My postman put a thing in my letterbox. Photographs that do not bend, and he wrote on it, yes they do. Well, that London, I love going to London. Just get in and get out. You know what I mean? Get in, get out. And I was doing this gig at the Park Lane Hotel. I thought, well, I'll just book in when I get there. So imagine me walking in the Park Lane Hotel, London. This hairstyle, jeans, trainers, t-shirt. This concierge bloke. He looks me up and down. He thinks I'm going to pull a string and my hair's going to fly up. He said, can I help you? I said, can I book in for the night? He said, you think you can afford it? I said, yes. He said, it's £300. I said, so? He said, would you like a shower or a bath? I said, well, what's the difference? He said, you sit down in the bath. Well, I phoned the ambulance for him. So me and the wife were in this room. And the wife said, are we taking the little bottles of shampoo? I said, we're taking the fucking curtains. I said, get the scrags and tails on the pole. Get the fucking lot down. It's well, this hotel had everything then. Swimming pool, jacuzzi, it had a spa. But for £300, I'm in the spa. You know, I got my lottery tickets, some milk, on that. Well, then a sauna. I've never been in a sauna in my life. I thought, £300, I'm in the sauna. So I'm now sat in the sauna, half naked, with 15 strange men. I bit my lips on this ladle, trying to get a drink. Well, they had a swimming pool. Last time I was in a swimming pool, Picton Road Baths. When your time was up, a man used to come at you with a bamboo pole. But every swimming pool now, there's a chemical in the water, and if a man has a pee in the water, it comes out bright blue, it's like ink, and they know who's done it. If a woman has a pee in the water, it comes out pink. Me and the wife were up and down this pool, we were like the red arrows. Imagine a Scouser and he's in court for stealing lead. And they all know him, you know what I mean? Stealing lead. So he's in court, the judge said, why'd you steal lead? What on earth can you do with lead nowadays? He said, well, Your Honour, he said, I make lead soldiers. They're that big. He said, I don't collected them when I was a boy. What do you do with these lead soldiers? He said, well, you worship honour. He said, I put them into regiments. And when I've got 20,000 of them in a regiment, I march them down the scrapyard. There's a fellow in Inverness and he's in court for shooting a golden eagle. The judge said, why did you shoot a golden eagle? He said, well, I was grouse shooting, and it just came over and boom, it was gone. Oh, it was gone. He said, and what did you do with this golden eagle? So well, actually, he said, we took it home, he said, and we cooked it and we ate it. He said, oh, you ate a golden eagle? There's 4 left in Europe. Well, you bet what? I'm sorry. We said, he's sorry. He said, what did it taste like, this golden eagle? He said, it was very similar to swan. Done a lot for the troops over the years, and I did that Bosnia when that was, that was too close to home, and it's only 2 hours flight, Bosnia. So anyway, we've done this show at a place called Goni Vakuf. And the next morning I'm a smoker for my sins. So I'm stood there having a cigarette, it's a beautiful big lake. And I'm stood there having a cigarette, and this young officer from Sandhurst, 23 years old, he's walked over and he went, you see these ducks on the lake? I went, yeah, ducks, yeah, they like lakes, yeah. Yes, you know them, don't you? He said, well, these ducks, they're flightless ducks, and you only get them in Bosnia. I said, well, where else are they going to go? Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming to see us. And this will be, if you leave your emails and all that over at the bar later, and we'll tell you when it's coming out, if you want to be reminded. You could buy it, couldn't you? And talk to your mates, well, we're going for my 4th piss. There's Kate there. So have a nice life and eat plenty of veg. If I don't see you again, hello.
Good day.
Have you ever kissed one of these at 98 miles an hour? Wasn't that yours? Was that yours, sir? No? You blame them people behind you, you raggarts. How is it they trust everybody with glass and give me a plastic one? I haven't got Parkinson's yet. Well, I've always hated dentists ever since I was a kid. There's a sign outside in it, practice. And he never speaks to you, does it? It's always his assistant. She's the one who sticks you in the chair. Then she gives you that pink stuff, you know, that Campari. Disinfectant. I never drink it. When she turns her back, I spit it in the bowl. Then he injects you, and when half of your head doesn't work, he wants a conversation then, doesn't he? How's the wife and family? Because you see that, but anyways. I'm talking like Peter Beardsley all day. The dentist never says you're not something to eat or drink when you go home. When you go home and you have a cup of coffee and it's all pouring out the side of your head. You have a sandwich, 3 hours later you make your tongue. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you have a drink upstairs? Yeah, let's go upstairs. Find that woman with them fucking shoes. That's another thing about getting old, isn't it? I went for a pair of shoes. I couldn't believe it. The woman said, what size are you, sir? I went, a 9. When was the last time you bought shoes, sir? I said, Mrs. Bisley. She went, well, a 9 is a 43. I said, sorry, I didn't know. It was a 43 then. So I'm walking around in these 43s. I said, you know, love, they're a bit tight. She said, you need a 9.5. So I went to this restaurant in Mexico, and it was half Muslim, half Mexican, Mosquito, and went one in London. It was half Japanese and half Jewish. It was called the Sosumi. But I'm an atheist, thank God. I was in these cruise ships, you know, and I love doing them. Met some lovely people who are here tonight. Thank you very much for coming to see us. And I've never done Rome. Because, like, it's an hour and a half, you know, on a coach. I'd rather stay by the beach, don't you? You know what I mean? So I've never done Rome. I thought, once I'll be like, I'll do it. So 5.5 years ago, I thought, I'll do it, Rome. I booked a trip with lunch. Well, they dropped us off at the Vatican Arms. So we got in there. There are a couple of pints in there. And it takes you around to the Vatican shop. Now, I've got a pub and a rope. And I got a nice present for the grandkids. It's like a plastic pope, but you screw his hat off and it's full of M&Ms. But we were there when they were picking a new pope, and I never knew this. Did you know there was 2 in the final? There was the Argentinian bloke, and the other finalist. He was Italian. His name was Cicola. Can you imagine that? Pope Cicola. Pack it in, mate. You're never going to get the job, are you? So I'll finish off. Can you imagine the fella on the radio doing the noddy programme for kids? You want to get out more? And he's been doing this for 20 years. Hang on, incoming. Snap. It's great being bored. You can hear snowflakes. You don't actually go bald. When you get older in life, you know, it just grows in and it comes out your nose and your ears. Yeah. So what, hairdressers make me laugh. Have you noticed when you go in an hairdresser, they always sit in the chair and then they start talking to the mirror? And the words come out backwards. So he's been doing this for 20 years, every Monday morning on the radio. Noddy programming kids, hates kids, alcohol. Don't gets on the radio, and I think it sounds something like this. What? Should we wait for him? You don't know him? Because he walks in halfway through, you know he's going to get this right in his fucking head. Mind you, he's got prostrate, he'll be fucking pissing for hours. Morning kids, it's a Noddy show. Are you all listening to your radios? What a little Noddy do today. He wakes up, doesn't he? Goes in the bathroom for a wash. Can you hear little Noddy? Sink with water. Noddy's got a big sink. He said, oh shit, he'll have a bath. He goes downstairs for his breakfast. There's a milkman. Pours himself a cup of tea. Poured himself some toast. And a runny egg. So he got in his car. He got in his car with his friend Gordon. Oh, Gordon. And he's going on his hind days to Scotty Botland. And he met a scout for an Indian. Hang on a mo. Went in a cake shop in Glasgow. He said, is that a custard or meringue? He said, no, you're not wrong, it's a custard. And he went to this antique shop in Edinburgh, and there were some antlers on the wall. He said, are they for deer? She said, no, they're quite cheap. Driving through Scotland, he saw Thomas the Tank Engine, and Thomas went into this tunnel with a little puff. Thomas came out with a tender behind. And his car stopped and that he said, oh, my car won't go. So, phone the AA man, he said, what's wrong, hey? Well, there was no water in the radiator, no. No water in the wifey hoppers. No water in the headlamps. This what's wrong with my car, man? He said, shit in the carburetor. How often do I have to do that? Thanks for coming, ladies and gentlemen.